Well, this is getting exciting. Only a week and a day, 8 days until the update. Um, just to be clear, we're on a regular Switch, not getting the Switch 2 version, uh, just the one that's going to be with the original Switch, which is so exciting because a while ago they were like, oh no, 2.0 will be the last update. Oh, yeah. Okay, Red is around. All right. Um, So getting a 3.0 is exciting, gives us something to do, especially since it looks like they weren't ready to release a new one, which is usually with each console they release a new one. Oh no, I'm not trying to shoot off. I want to check my mail. Yeah, I'm finally getting my January gift from my mom because my birthday is very early in the year. So getting a gift from my mom for my birthday came first. So now I'm finally getting mom's gift for the year, which I wish they would kind of update that. I have so many of them after playing it for as many years as I have. Let's look around and see what I can clean up for today. Let's see what these gifts I got were. Carmen's birthday was yesterday, so she sent me a ninja costume. Got a random warrior statue from someone, and then there's mom's art for the January gift. I got my birthday cake a couple days ago. Okay. Yeah. That's nothing back here. I'm just gonna do the usual cleanup. Look at some things. Could do something fun here. Gotta figure out what. We should transform one of our beaches to look more like Swan Island in Paris. Gotta figure out which of our beaches we want to do that with. Um, Especially since the newer versions of the newer seasons of Miraculous has done a few things on Swan Island. So I feel like we should do a nice beach area for Swan Island. Something we can look at. Ooh. Gotta clean up my pockets a little bit. Oh gosh, I forgot how much this controller we have vibrates. Okay, and I'll use this when I find the spot today. I know there's a debate about how much to put in there. Some people put only 10,000 in because that's kind of like you're guaranteed 30 and the 99 is a gamble. I go for the 99 gamble. I'm not really a gambler in real life, but hey, fake money I can't use. Why not gamble, right? And there are lots of other ways to recoup the money in the game if you don't hit. I mean, really, in the end, if you don't hit it, you're only losing 9,000 bells. And that's so easy to make up with crafting, or which that's another fun thing that's coming with the update. Bulk crafting. I cannot wait for that. I'm going to try to hit those achievements with crafting. Um, by doing that. Okay, I kind of want to make a really annoying snowman, but I have way too much. Will I lose this snowball if I do that? Or should I just... Let me try to hit the snowball into something and see if I can get it to break and respawn. Ha! Good. I got it to break so it can respawn. I saw something a picture someone put online today about, you know, the sassy snow boys when you don't do it quite right. I already have the achievement for, you know, the number of perfect snow boys. So just kind of doing some funky ones and getting to laugh at the sass they have. I think that'll be kind of fun. So I'm going to try to make a couple snow boys that are really bad and see what type of sass I get. Yeah, I already have the deer decoration. Yep. Still looking for this money tree spot and my other... Aw, so sweet. My money tree spot and my other weed that spawns today. I don't want to put away the weed because I still have to get the other one. But I'll put away that stuff so I have room to grab. I'm going to have gold roses ready. So I'm going to grab those. All right. I'm looking for... Ah, darn. It's another... I'm getting yellows. I'm not getting any greens here. Still trying to breed a couple more greens. And then I think I have all of the... Uh-oh. What's T-Bone thinking? I mean, Boone. Oh. Okay, you know what? We're ready to get rid of him, so I'm gonna let him go. So I guess I'll be streaming some hunts. We might change our streaming schedule. We might wait on some things. I know Bo was thinking about streaming a kind of cute game we found online on the Switch tomorrow night. And maybe we'll have to change that up. We might need to change that up for a villager hunt. Oh. He said he was thinking about streaming some Animal Crossing. So I'll give him the opportunity to do that. Aren't I nice? Tell him it's his opportunity to do it. He can go on the villager hunt. I'll get a whole bunch of Nook miles for him to do it. Oh, let me switch this. I love this little hack here. If I build fence, I can see better up against this cliff. So if that's something you struggle with, that's a little hack. Be ready to build the fence and you can see a bit better. I'm not even using the toggle on the controller to do this. It's automatically doing it because I have build fence out in my hand as my action. Whoops, almost left that one. Oh, and that one. See, that's one of the reasons why I need to put the fence hammer in my hand, so I don't miss things like this. And I know in a little bit I'm going to run out of space. but I'll have the space back once I didn't get that one. And then that one. I cannot see on this very well. I should have no space. Yep. So I'm going to drop a little bit of them because I'll have the room to pick it up as soon as I seal up my little spot of my fence that I took out so I could go in there and get my leaves, get my gold roses, which if you're wondering why we do this, if we let people over on our island, they can't mess with fences. So fencing in gold roses means they can't get into them. We need to think about maybe trying to get up maybe 6 more so that we have an even number, because I always make the wreaths because they are a really good way of making money. Haha, there's my other weed. So they make a lot of money, and your roses are made every 2 days. So I do that to make some money. If you're wondering what these are up here, I've moved our 6 fossils here so that they don't respawn all over the island, because we are done with everything in the museum. And then I plant 3 gyroid fragments at a time, and so those are there. Once I pick up a 3rd one, then I'll switch it out. Ooh, what do we got in the balloon? What do we got in the balloon? Switch. I won't be able to pick it up until I put some stuff away, but oh, that's weird. It's a little bit up. I might have to come up to about here to get it, maybe. Unless it blows right over me. This is always precarious with it being so close to the water, and the fact that I have all these flowers here. Yes. Did not get lost in the flowers. Oh, why did I do that? Didn't get it lost in the flowers, and didn't drop it into the water either. That's some skill. All right. I'm going to put away this and this. Confirm. Let's check out what I got here. Vehicle cabin seat. All right, put that in my storage. Oh, I can't wait until storage is expanded next week, because look at me. I only have room for like 300 items right now because I hoard some things. I do go through every once in a while and like sell things off, but I also hoard some of the clothing to give away to my villagers on their birthdays. So like yesterday was Carmen's birthday, so I gave her a sweater that according to the guide I have on my phone, that she should like. All right, I'm just running through here, see if I can find the glowing spot. Hold on, is that a... didn't expect to find that. Okay. Still got to look for the money spot later, but I'll come back and talk to all of our villagers in a moment. I'm gonna craft. Oh, hold on. I didn't see it before because of the shadow. There's my spot. There's my money tree spot. All right. Well, I found everything I need to find. Weeds and spots for the money tree. I'm gonna craft a little bit. Put the stuff away for my family to have so they can make the money, and then get ready. So I gotta tell everyone tonight when I see them that Boone has asked to leave, so we need to find a new villager. Some of the ones we don't have that are kind of miraculous Kwame ones, and we've had in the past but don't have right now, a horse or a rooster. Those two are probably at the top of my looking when we start searching for villagers to find one of those types. For those who might not know much about Miraculous, so Miraculous has these things called Kwamis, which are magical creatures that transform and power these superheroes. The Miracle Box, which is what holds all of the different Kwamis, that is in Paris, is inspired by the Chinese astrology, which, what's your sign? What's your Chinese sign? What's your birth year sign? So all of those creatures plus a few more are in this miraculous box that make up the Kwamis that power the Paris superheroes in Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Of course, Ladybug is not one of the things in the Chinese. So that's one of the ones that's not. But we have everything else. So some of them are not things that we can get, obviously, on as villagers. There are no turtles that are villagers, as an example. So there's no oxes. That's why I have T-Bone. He's technically, a cow, but kind of looks more like an ox. So that's why we had him. But we're willing to let him go. So he'd be the next to go whenever one of two things happens. Either he says he's ready to go, or we have someone come to visit that we like. Of course, there's the monkey. Oh, home improvement. Ugh, electrical work. No, thank you. I would shock myself. But yeah, so trying to find ones that fit the Chinese zodiac. That's the word I was looking for, zodiac. It's kind of tough. But that's how we're trying to go. What is he making? I know how to make a decorative plate. Yeah. Yeah. There are a handful of recipes I'm still looking for. And I sell the recipes I already have because for a while I kept them and My family went through them, and now they have them, a lot of them. So I just sell them. I've also given them away, opened up the island and gave them away. But with my storage being so tight right now, oh no, Cookie and her lasers. What's she trying to do? Oh gosh. I do not feel like going in. Oh gosh. What if the fish is in there? They have some of the funniest little things they say. So speaking of the Chinese zodiac, what is your sign? You know, tell me, what's your sign? I am technically a dog. I had a huge disagreement with one of my teachers in elementary school when we were talking about it. She says, well, your birth year is, XYZ, you are a boar. And my response was, my birthday is so early in the year that the Chinese New Year never happens. I am a dog. I did finally get it confirmed. I am a dog. Someone else told me that for sure, because my birthday is before the Chinese New Year, I am a dog, not a boar. So that's what I am. Trying to remember what comes after boar. That's what bow is. I cannot tell you what the kids are off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up. Maybe next time we're on, we can mention what everyone's Chinese zodiac is. All right, now that I've got all that out of my pockets, I'm gonna go pick up these flowers that spawned that are not the greens that I'm trying to get. I'm gonna sell them. I don't need yellows. Okay. Just double check. Those are definitely yellow, not green. Sometimes, depending on what screen I'm on and with my setup for this, it's not always easy to see the difference between yellow and green. But those are definitely yellows. Time to get rid of them. Don't need them. All right. That. We're so looking forward to. Oh, okay. I'll buy a new one in there. We're so looking forward to the update next week and having Rossetti take out all these flowers. I'm sure. I have a feeling Bo might stream that, like using Rossetti to take out the flowers some point next week or the week after. We'll end up, I don't know, maybe someone will end up selling all but 10 of each type of flower. I want to keep 10 of each type of flower so that I have them for crafting purposes. Of course, with the exception of the gold, because that brings you some really nice things. I need a new watering can. The elephant one is so cute. Yeah, I'll buy it. But I did go through and clean up everything that was missing on the custom paths. And I also, I'm trying to grow those green mums that I need so that we have 10 of everything available for crafting. So, if something ends up being the high priced item of the day, I can get it. All right, I'm gonna make a bad snow boy. Very judgmental. Oh, maybe I'll just try to make a tiny, teeny, tiny one. Oh, will it let me? Will it let me? Let's see how big. All right. All right. Will it? Nope, not big enough yet. Okay. I want to do a bad snowman. I'm just gonna keep knocking them together until they'll put together first to make a snowman. All right. Oh, there we go. I've gotten into the rolling stage. Rolling stage. Can I put them together yet? No. Dang. I just want a snow boy to yell at me and say silly things. Okay. Meow. Nope, not big enough yet. Meow. Oh, the vibration on this controller is so funny. As I'm rolling this. Roll, roll, roll. Okay. All right. That's close to head size. So let's see if it'll let me put it together into a snowman yet. Not yet. Okay. Gotta be careful. I don't want to knock them over. All right. Okay, that's about the right. It's almost the right size for the body. Good. Come on. There it goes. So my head should be a little better matched to my body. Okay. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, let me put away this last weed and then start strategizing how we're going to do our upcoming villager hunt. If you're not on our Twitch, check there. We will be putting up what day and around what time. We'll probably work on the villager hunt now that we will need to find someone to replace Boone, since Boone is a baboon and is not one of the miraculous Kwamis. A baboon is not. So hope everyone's having a good day, and we'll see you soon back for Animal Crossing. And if it's not Animal Crossing tomorrow, I think it's another Switch game, Kitten Island, which is really cute.